It's time to buckle up, folks, as Gran Turismo 7 comes screeching onto the PS5 and PS4 this week. Asim's been busy with our review, which you can check out on the site and on the channel, but he also sent me a ton of 4K footage, so I can give it a once over and have a look at it from a technical point of view. In this video, I'll be looking at the PS4, the PS4 Pro and PS5 versions of the game, and running the relevant modes where possible. We'll start with some eye candy, shall we? The PS5 version runs in one of two modes, the first one being prioritise ray tracing. Now, this sounds super exciting on the surface, but it's important to note that much like in Forza, the RT implementation only comes in for certain sections and modes. These include in replays, in the escape section, as well as other non-racing environments. That sounds a little bit disappointing at first. It's actually a really smart move for Polyphony Digital, as it allows for an absolutely solid, stable 60 frames a second during the on-track action, while giving an additional wow factor when you come to the parts where you can truly show off your car collection. In the replays, the game holds a steady 30 frames a second, with only a couple of dropped frames here and there across our testing. Honestly though, it adds a lot more to the realistic nature of the replays, and with everything that matters in terms of gameplay running at 60, it's difficult not to recommend this one as the way to play. It snaps back into 30 as soon as control is taken away from you through to cutscenes, but whenever you're behind the wheel, it is as smooth as butter. If, however, you want everything to be at 60 frames a second all of the time, then the frame rate option is for you. This puts both races and replays at that stable 60, but without the added bonus of RT reflections and lighting that are used in the other mode. It's really personal choice here, but here's a little bit more gameplay across both modes to wet the whistle a little bit more. From all of the footage that I've seen, it's really hard to discern a difference between any settings in the frame rate and RT modes. The level of on-track detail and on the cars is astonishing, regardless of what you play in, with everything looking nice and shiny until you careen through a puddle or a mound of dirt. GT7 is one of those titles that sits in Sony's cross-gen range, so what does that mean for the base PS4 and the PS4 Pro? We fired up our trusty launch day PS4 and Pro to get a sense of what this means for those who've not been lucky enough to get their hands on a PS5 just yet, and we were absolutely floored by the result. The base PS4 is obviously running at a substantially lower resolution than the PS5. However, you can see from the footage here that the frame rate holds up spectacularly well, and is indeed running at 60 frames a second. I really wish I knew what sort of magic Polyphony Digital have in their studio, but for a system that's a generation old, this is a stunning technical achievement. Throughout all of the footage that we captured, there were only a few instances of frame drops below that magic straight line, and even then only by 1 or 2 frames. It is remarkably consistent, and should allay any fears of those who are concerned about the game running poorly on old hardware. When it comes to the replays, these are locked at 30. Strangely, in the music rally replay that we captured, there are some odd graphical glitches in the windscreen at certain moments, but on the whole, it's what you'd expect from a GT replay. It simply looks fantastic. If we switch over to the Pro, you can see that this is a pretty impressive boost to the resolution. It's not quite the native 4K of the PS5, but it's presumably hovering somewhere around 1800p, likely with checkerboarding being used to achieve this. Once again, we've got a solid 60 frames a second, interrupted by a single drop frame on the rarest of occasions, and once again, as soon as the control is taken from you, replays switch back to 30 frames a second, but in that higher resolution. Honestly, it's really difficult to find much in the way of flaws for any of the versions of the game, bar the 16 or so milliseconds when a single frame passes you by with the old generation. So there you have it, that is our technical overview of Gran Turismo 7. If you're picking it up on the PS4 or the PS4 Pro, you don't have to worry about performance, and the resolution is surprisingly good on both systems despite their age. If you are invested in the new generation though, then our recommendation is to play in RT mode. You'll be treated to a flawless 60 frames a second when you're sat behind the wheel, and be able to take in some sumptuous visuals after you take home the gold. Or, plunge headfirst straight into a hedge. Thank you for joining us, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop us a like, leave us a comment down below, let us know, are you going to be picking up Gran Turismo 7? Get subscribed to the channel because we've got quite a few more GT7 videos coming very soon. Take care, guys. Bye bye.